Let's start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Shaitra Shaitaraknya Vibhaga Yogaha. 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita talks about the real nature of Lord Krishna and also the real nature of each one of us. Without the spiritual knowledge, we all think we are this body, we are living in this world. We are living in Singapore or India or London or, wherever you are situated. We all think that we have location and we are bound by time. This is our common experience and common conclusion. Bhagavad Gita tells us this is not the ultimate truth. What we experience is only an incidental nature of the body. The body has a location. Body is limited by time. I am the spiritual essence which is in this body. I also express myself in the form of ego, the small I, that is also there in this body. The ego is a shadow. It is a reflection. So all things which I do with the ego is only a incidental nature. What I'm telling you is exactly what is given in the scriptures, in the Upanishads, and this is the essence of what is taught in the Vedas. So there are two principles in this body. There are two indwellers. Body is not me. So that is gone. Body means the heart, the liver, the different organs which are there in the body, the constituents of the body. That's not me. Everybody knows that. But everybody knows that there is something in this body which is acting. Now the actor is the jiva. Now the jiva is what we are trying to understand. What is this jiva? Jiva has got three aspects. One is he is a karta. Whenever the jiva is identifying with the organs of action, he is called as karta. For example, I am so-and-so. I live in this body. I am acting from morning to evening, and I do certain actions. So when I do actions, I also become bhokta. That means I am also the enjoyer of the actions. So the I, which is there in this body, when it is identified with the organs of knowledge and organs of action, becomes the karta, the doer and enjoyer. As I said, this karta, this is only a shadow. It is not the intrinsic nature. Because this body itself is witnessed in waking state and the body itself goes away, it is not witnessed in the sleep state. I am someone different than this body. That is the essence of this chapter 13. Who is this something different than the body? It is called as Shaitaraknya, the Sakshi principle. For those who have had some knowledge of the Upanishads, in the Upanishads, this Shaitraknya is also called as Sakshi or Brahman or God, whatever you may call it. But it is different than the body. That is very, very important to note. It is not the body, it is not the mind. So far, we have seen 6 verses. Today, we are going to do the 7th verse. In the 6 verses, what has been taught so far are 2 terms, Kshetram and Shaitaraknya. Kshetram means the field of experiences, the field, the matter principle. And Shaitaraknya is the experiencer, the spiritual principle, who experiences the body, who experiences the mind, who experiences the world. That is the distinction we have seen from verse 1 to 6. In the 7th verse, in the last 2 verses, we have seen how creation is made up of the 2 principles, the matter principle, which is all the organs of knowledge, organs of action. We have seen that. Ashtada, Prakriti, eightfold nature. The whole world is made up of 5 elements. The body is made up of 5 elements. As we all have studied the Tattva Bodha, there we must now recollect what is the subtle body and what is the mind, and what are the modifications of the mind. That is what we should recollect now when we study the 7th verse and up to the 12th verse. Because all whatever is related to mind is being described in this verse, and then how to modify the mind with values is described from verse 8 to 12. That is the focus of our attention today. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sangashta chetana dhritihi etak kshetram samasena savikaram udahritam. These are the different thoughts in the mind: desire, hatred, joy, pain, sorrow. These are all what we experience. How do we experience this? Only when there is a joining together of the Kshetrajna and the Kshetram in the waking state. They come together. See, this structuring of the world, the structuring of the body, what it is, if we understand clearly, we will be able to release our identification with this body and with the mind. That is the goal of Lord Krishna. That is the goal of all the Upanishads. They are all trying to teach us, how can I disidentify with this body, with the sense organs, and how can I own up the spiritual essence which is there in this body. That spiritual essence is the Kshetrajna. But here we are learning the different modifications of the mind. Creation at Vyashti level, at the individual level, has got gross body and subtle body. In the Tattva Bodha, we talked about the modifications of the gross body. Here in this verse, we are talking about the modifications of the subtle body. What are the 6 modifications of the gross body? One is it exists. That is the first thing. So in the womb of the mother, the body exists first. Then it starts growing. So asti means exists, vardate means grows, apakshiyate or asti jayate. We have to go in this order. Asti jayate vardate viparinamate apakshiyate vinashyati. Jayate means the body is born. When it comes out of the womb, it's born. Then vardate. Through the food which we eat, the child starts drinking the milk first because it cannot digest the food. So it drinks milk, it eats soft things first. Slowly it starts digesting. Slowly it gets energy. At the childhood stage, the child is not aware of the world. It is just aware of nearby mother, father, house. It just becomes conscious of the surroundings. Then it goes to school. And then once it goes to school, then what happens is it becomes, it goes to school, it learns the situation around the school. It becomes conscious of the school, other people in the school, so starts growing. This is how the development of the child grows. It grows. That is growth phase is called as vardate. And then from when it goes to school, college, it becomes more and more conscious of the world. In school, different topics are taught, so it becomes more conscious of the nature of the world. Then it goes to college, it becomes more aware of the world. As you learn more and more, you grow intellectual. The mind modifies. A time comes when when the body growth stops. Viparinamate. That means the modification becomes stable. Apakshiyate is decays. It starts going down. The body, the physical body goes down. Vinashyati is it has death. So here we are all talking, and the physical body, according to Tattva Bodha, is made up of the food. It is the Annamaya Kosha. It is born out of food, it exists in food, and it goes back to food. This is the creation at the gross body level. Now in this verse, what we are learning is, now Kshetra means the field. It consists of both the gross body as well as the subtle body, which is the mind. It is, Kshetram is a technical term in Bhagavad Gita. So you should be very clear, it includes the mind. And what is the Shaitaranya? It is the seer. Who is seeing this body? Who is listening in this body? That is called as the experiencer. It is different than the body. And only when we learn how to segregate in our own mind, you see, this is an intellectual knowledge. Our intellect has to understand that there is a principle, which is the Sakshi principle, the experiencer principle, which is a spiritual principle. Now that is different than the thoughts in the mind. Desire is a thought. It's a vritti. Vritti means it is a thought modification. These are all, the mind consists like we'll say, the human heart consists of the blood and the system, the circulation of blood and so on. The mind instrument consists of thoughts. Without thoughts, we cannot say that the instrument is the mind. When there is no thoughts in sleep, the mind is not called as a mind, it has gone to sleep. It is not even called as a mind. So the mind has got two conditions. It has got the manifest condition, that is in the form of thoughts. It has got an unmanifest condition when it goes to sleep. When all the thoughts are resolved into itself or into the Karana Shariram, the causal body, the mind is said to be in a resolved condition. And what are the different experiences in the mind is what is being described here. Ichha means desire. So throughout the day, I may like to eat good food. So these are all, whenever you have thoughts of desire to do certain things, you must immediately realize this is a modification of the human mind. I am the indweller. I am using the instrument called the mind. And through that, I get connected to this body, physical body, the organs of action, and the world. Suppose I want to go and eat a good lunch in a restaurant. The desire comes first. A desire, a thought. Without that thought, you would not go to a restaurant. Yesterday, you didn't have a thought, so you didn't go to a restaurant. Today, you have a thought. That thought is a modification. It has just sprung in your mind. Here, we are not discussing why it has sprung and all that. We are only trying to observe what is shaitra. So similarly, dvesha. Dvesha means I don't like to go to a movie. I don't like this shopping mall. I want this shopping mall. So this is dvesha, means aversion. It is again a modification of the mind. Sukham. Whenever the situation outside is conducive, suppose there's a very nice hall, quiet room, or a quiet place, it is conducive to me, then what happens is my mind quietens. When my mind quietens, I experience joy. Dukkham. Dukkham is what? It is opposite of sukham. Whenever things are not conducive, my mind starts agitating. When the mind starts agitating, you must realize it is a modification of the antakaranam. Antakaranam means inner instrument. Like I have a hand, a leg to move about, a hand to lift things. Similarly, I have an instrument called the mind, which I use. Now, I must learn to use this instrument properly. When I come to know that this is an instrument, I will start having a distance with my mind. Only when you start getting at objectifying your own mind, what happens is you are in better control of the mind. You master the mind. This chapter is very important from the title of our program, Master Gita, Master Life. Master the mind, master your life. Because once you are in, like you have a car, you are a master of the car, you can decide where to go. Similarly, you are a master of your mind, then you can direct the body to learning Bhagavad Gita, learning Upanishads, learning that, so that you can purify the mind. Sangataha. Sangataha means entire conglomerate of the body, which is 17 organs at the Sukshma Sharira level. That means, what does the Sukshma subtle body consist of? Just to remind you, it consists of the prana. It consists, that means the 5 pranas. It consists of the 5 jnana indriyas, sense organs, the power of the sense organs. Like the eyes have the power to see, that power is called as the subtle body. My tongue has a power to taste, that is a subtle body. So 5 sense organs of knowledge, 5 organs of action, 5 pranas. You know the pranas related to digestion, circulation, respiration, so many. We have studied all this in Tattva. So the 5 pranas, the 5 sense organs, the 5 organs of action, 15. Then mind and intellect. This becomes 17. So the 17 organs together is called as the Sangataha. It is a conglomerate. Now, it is this conglomerate which gets the Chetana Tattva, which gets the reflection of consciousness. Like the moon gets the reflection of consciousness, the light in the moon does not belong to the moon. The light in all the sense organ does not belong to the sense organs. The power of the tongue to taste, it does not belong to the tongue. It belongs to the Chetana Tattva, which is the spiritual essence in me. I am someone different than the subtle body. So that consciousness principle, that Shaitaraknya, when it gets reflected in my sense organs, it becomes aware at the physical level. Then I get a feeling, I am so and so. I am Jacqueline. I am Mala. I am Mohan. I am so and so. So this sense comes only when the mind is awake. When the mind is not awake, that sentiency which gets reflected in this subtle body, that sentiency is gone. Therefore, the body becomes as good as inert, as good as non-existent, seemingly existent. But what happens to that consciousness? It is always there. That pure consciousness, which is not reflected in the subtle body, is my swarupam. That is my being. The more I know that I am that, then what happens is I will lose the identification with the body as myself. This is the teaching here. While Lord Krishna is mentioning all this, we should be very clear. He is trying to get ourselves outside this body and become free. That is the goal. Therefore, he is saying this Chetana, this reflected consciousness, the capacity to know things in the body does not belong to the body. It is a borrowed aspect from the original consciousness, which is the Shaitaraknya, which is the experiencer, the original experiencer, not the ahamkara ego experiencer. Aham, when I say I am, immediately two aspects come. One is I am the Sakshi, the Shaitaraknya, the experiencer, and the second is this body mind. The moment I say I am, immediately I am attached to this body. When I wake up in the morning, there is not a second difference between the body and I am. Immediately I attach myself to this body. I get identified with this body. In sleep, what I am pure Sakshi. I am Atma. I am one with the Lord. You don't have to die to realize this. That is what is the teaching here. The teaching is while you are living, you know that I am not the body and mind. Just remain and let this body and mind do whatever it has to do as per prarabdha and become free. The learning of Bhagavad Gita is to say you are always one with the Lord. And the Lord means sentiency, consciousness. The whole world goes into this consciousness awareness principle. There is only one consciousness principle. The bodies, they appear many. This is for interaction level only. The body takes a birth, body goes, body grows, and then it takes another body. So this aspect is what is called as the spiritual learning. I am the spirit. The next is dritihi. Dritihi means a capacity to hold on to a thought. Suppose I want to study a particular subject for, or read a newspaper for 1 hour, or watch a cricket match for 1 day or 2 hours, watch a movie. This is called dritihi. Dritihi means you have the focusing capacity to go on. This is also a modification of the mind. To work, for example, I will work half an hour continuously in the kitchen. I'll produce a dish. It is called dritihi, determination, ability of the mind. Persistence. In spite of so many other other aspects which will ask you to turn away from the work, you're still persistently trying to do what you want to do. So there are many other thoughts which come in our mind. Sankalpa. I want to build a house. I want to build a business. I want to plan what degree I want to follow. I want to get married. These are all the different plans. They are called as sankalpaha. Thoughts in the mind with a firm goal. Vichikitsa. When I try to do certain things, I get a doubt. Should I get married to so-and-so? Should I not get married to so-and-so? So that is a doubt. That is called as vichikitsa. Vichikitsa is also a modification of the mind. Shraddha, faith. I have strong faith in the scriptures. I do not have faith in the scriptures. Shraddha, ashraddha. Driti, adriti. That means having determination, having no determination. Hri. Hri means shyness. I feel shy to do certain things in life. These are all modifications of the mind, and they are called as shaitram. See, very difficult for us to understand the field, because many a times we take the body and mind as something different than the field. I can look at the whole world as a field, but what Lord Krishna is teaching us is learn to look at your own body also as a part of the field. Then only I will start understanding what is consciousness, what is awareness. The light in which I see this body is called as the light of consciousness. We are not talking of the physical light, the sunlight. We are talking of the spiritual light. The spiritual light makes us aware of the sun as well as this body. Etat kshetram samasena udahritam. What it says? It says, in essence, I'm telling you what is kshetram. So far, he said that I have now taught you all what constitutes kshetra. All our experiences are called as kshetram. But the one who is experiencing, the experiencer, is consciousness. That is called as Shaitaraknya. Kshetram means vikaram. If you want one word to describe Kshetram, you should remember this word vikaram. Vikaram means modification. Morning to evening, my body is modifying. Cells are undergoing change. The prana is going on in this body. When the prana is going on, it converts the cells, there's constant change in this body. Digestion goes on, circulation goes on, the growth of cells happens, some cells die out. That is how the nature is. And this body, if I know well, I will know the entire cosmos, because the cosmos is just a replica of the body. What is happening in nature, what we call nature, is nothing else but the same 5 elements acting outside the body. Constantly there is circulation, there is movement of air, there is sunshine, there is rain, there is thunderstorm. All these are modifications. So here Lord Krishna says, all whatever is experienced is Kshetram. The experiencer is Shaitaranya. And what experiences modification? Mutates, changes. Ashtada Prakriti. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, as well as in this Bhagavad Gita, we have seen the 5 elements, the sun, moon, and the ego, or the unmanifest condition of this entire cosmos. That entire, including the unmanifest condition. In our sleep state, what happens? The whole thing which our body and sense organs are experiencing goes to avyaktam, unmanifest condition. That unmanifest condition is also experienced by Kshetrajna. So Kshetram in this chapter 13 has been described mainly as 24 factors. 5 factors are the 5 elements. The 24 factors we have discussed when we discussed the creation last week. And all experiences is nothing else but Kshetram. Seer and seen, drik drishyam, anything drishyam. So in Vedanta, what we say is, are you seeing something? That seen is not you. Are you seeing the world? The world is not you. Are you seeing your car? The car is not you. Are you seeing your desk? The desk is not you. Are you seeing your body? The body is not you. Are you seeing your mind? Then you are not the mind. Who are you? I am the seer. This is how I learned to discriminate between the seer and the seen. That is the speciality of this chapter 13. Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Kshetram is called as Anatma. Kshetrajna is called as Atma. Throughout our spiritual study, we have to keep on learning to differentiate the body, mind, and me, the consciousness. That is the study. When that study becomes mature, mature means my intellect is able to do this discrimination clearly. I know what is real and I know what is unreal. I know my intrinsic nature is real. I am consciousness. My incidental nature of Rohini, my incidental nature of Chandra, my incidental nature of Rohit, all these are all incidental name and form. This body is given a name. The name is to identify the individual in this body. Apart from that, the name is gone. In sleep, there is no name. I am there without a name, without any attributes. That attributeless consciousness is my original intrinsic nature before the body was born. After the body leaves, I go back to my original nature. Nothing happens to me. I am ajaha, birthless. I am nityaha. I am eternal. I am immortal. This thought process must sink in our intellect. The more this thought process sinks in, the more I learn how to relate to the shaitra. When the mind gets disturbed, I won't say I am disturbed, I will say my mind is disturbed. My body has gone through some surgery, my body has gone through some pain. I know, I will say in my own heart, okay, you may not tell others about it, but this is a spiritual study meant for me. It is meant for the intellect in this body. The moment the intellect gets rid of the ignorance, that spiritual essence shines by itself. The truth is revealed because it is always there. It has been covered so far because of my mind's thoughts. I've always been engaged in bringing up my children, bringing up my studies, earning money. So many things I have done. I have never asked this question, who am I? Chapter 13 helps me to understand this nature of mind, which was hidden from me. Avyakta means it is not manifest to the senses. Manifestation to Vyaktam means it's manifest to awareness. It is awareness. That means even when the body and mind is resting, it is aware to the Sakshi principle. So Avyaktam is a state of the mind. Unmanifest condition in sleep is a state of the mind. In the higher spiritual study, like in Mandukya Upanishad, the focus is straight away on the three states of consciousness. I'm going to start that Mandukya Upanishad next week on Wednesday. You will all get the invitation to join if you're interested. So Wednesday, even if you're not able to join, you can just join and get the video and see it at any time you're free. But that is a higher level. Upanishads, I'm teaching Upanishads on Wednesdays. So here what I mean is that we must learn to look at ourselves in all the three states. You cannot analyze who you are only by looking at your body. That is how Bhagavad Gita teaches us. There is a systematic learning. You look at a body, look at your mind, learn the three states, get rid of the identification with each state, then ask the question, who am I? You will come directly in front of the seer. Consciousness, awareness. That is the ultimate. Shaitaranya is one truth, one reality. That reality is called as Brahman. This reality is not a person. It is not a male or female. It is not young or old. It is an entity. It is called, that is why it is called as reality. Everything else is unreal with respect to that reality. And once I know that reality, which is beyond time, which is not affected by time. The body is affected by time. It was born on so-and-so date. It is so many years old today. It will be 80 years in so many years. Body. Mind, it is changing every minute. There's no age to the mind. It continues for different lives. So many lives it gets, only the body keeps on changing, the mind remains constant in different bodies. It takes different bodies. But the seer of this mind is what Lord Krishna is teaching us. I am the seer of this mind. In this particular verse, what we are learning is to learn to look at the mind objectively and not take it up as a subject. So creation consists of both Kshetram and Kshetrajna. Without an experiencer, you cannot talk about creation. Suppose you talk about some star billions of years away from the earth. Who knows? Who cares? If I don't experience it, there's no experiencer of that. It doesn't make any difference whether it exists or doesn't exist. So creation is a mixture of two factors, Kshetram and Kshetrajna. Kshetrajna is what I'm trying to differentiate from the Kshetram. That Kshetrajna, the seer, not the eyes, but the power behind the eyes to see. And that is what is called as Kshetrajna. It's also called as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. These are three words which are describing that entity. Satya means it is always existing. It never changes. Independently existing without the body. Jnanam means it is of the nature of knowledge. I am. Pure knowledge without any objects in it. That is why it is called as objectless awareness. Anantam. Anantam means it is not affected by time, it is not affected by space, or it is not affected by any of the objects in creation. It is something different. So this Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam is this reality, the truth, Brahman. It's also another name of this Kshetrajna. Prakrite kriyamānāni gunai karmāni sarvashaha ahamkara vimudhatma kartarahamiti manyate. That 27th verse of the third chapter. Third chapter is called as the chapter of Karma Yoga. And why I'm bringing this verse here? Because to show that ahamkara, the ego I, which is Kshetram, is the one which is saying, I am the doer. And here Lord Krishna says, that doer is Kshetram. Tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayoho guna gunaesho vartante iti matva na sajjate. So here what was taught in the third chapter is that gunas are acting and it is not you, the Kshetrajna. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the three gunas in this body, material body, they are acting with the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas in the objects outside. And they are interacting. That is called as Prakriti. We will study that aspect a little later in this chapter. And how does this matter and spirit, how do they get together? By way of thoughts. The thought is a linking factor. That is why we say the mind. When the mind is asleep, then there is no link. When the mind comes up, we get the linking factor of the matter and the consciousness. So far, what has been explained is Yadrukcha. Yadruk means what are the characteristics of this Kshetram. Yat Vikari, what are the modifications of this Kshetram. Yataschayat, what has come from what. That means the body, gross body has come from the gross elements, the subtle body, the mind has come from the subtle elements. So that all we have seen so far. That is what is explained in this particular verse. And we must note that there are two types of knowledge. I'm going a little bit deeper now so that you get the clarity of this consciousness more and more. Because throughout this chapter, the only thing the Lord is trying to tell us is you are not the body and mind, you are the consciousness. You are not the shetram, you are the shaitraknya. Normally, knowledge is of two kinds. Paroksha jnanam, aparoksha jnanam. Whenever I use the sense organs, it is called as paroksha jnanam, indirect knowledge. So all whatever I see in the world is indirect knowledge. Suppose I say through the Bhagavad Gita, I have come to know there is a seer. That is also called as indirect knowledge. I know Brahman, I know Kshetra, I know. When I say I know or I don't know, these are all basically to do with the intellect and the sense organs. The subjective, so these are all objective knowledge. The subjective knowledge is called as aparoksha jnana. That means the spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge belongs to Kshetrajna. When I say I am the experiencer, I am the consciousness, this is direct experience. You're not saying I know consciousness. You are saying I know I am conscious. That is the difference. So for realization, you must always use the word I am this awareness. Don't say I know awareness principle. Then it becomes an object. So this subject, consciousness, through which I perceive the Karana Prapancha and Karana Sharira in sleep state. In the sleep state, there is something called as Karana, the causal body. Tattvabodha we learn, causal body. When do I experience the causal body? Only in the sleep state. Because the causal body is like the seed. For all my thoughts in the waking state, it is the seed. Tomorrow morning when I get up, again what happens? The knowledge of today's class will come up. Oh, I learned this. I learned Kshetraknya yesterday. So that knowledge is stored in some place that is called as the Karana Sharira. But who is witness to this Karana Shariram? It is me, the spiritual principle, that consciousness. That consciousness does not go to sleep. It is always shining, ever shining. We come to know this from the Upanishads. Nitya Prakasha Swarupaha. And I am that. That is the real seer. That is called as aparoksha anubhuti. Direct experience of my nature. Right now, sitting in this session and listening to it, you will be able to realize that nature. If you have been following, the paroksha jnanam relates to the jnanam, the knowledge of the sense organs and the sense objects. Aparoksha jnanam is a direct experience of the spiritual essence, the spiritual light behind the mind, which is able to see and experience the entire world, including the body and mind. To get this aparoksha jnanam is not easy. To get this direct knowledge. Because the mind throws up so many doubts, the mind throws up so many questions. How can I be that light? What is that light? I've never seen that light before. You can never see it at any time, because that happens to be you. This is the teaching. I am that light, I am that consciousness is the ultimate thought we should get in our mind. Whenever we want to sit in meditation, that should be the final thought. I am that consciousness. That's all. Everything else, let it keeps on going. I am that awareness, I am that being. To be, you don't need to know also. You are a being, you are a spiritual being. Whether you know that you are a being or not, you are still that spiritual essence. Knowing and not knowing is in the intellect. Bhagavad Gita is teaching us what lies beyond the intellect. This Atma, this Kshetraknya, is the seer, the consciousness, which lies beyond the intellect. There are no words, there is no other proof, there is no other pramanam, there is no other source of this Atma. Bhagavad Gita is the only source. Therefore, I should have full faith in the Shraddha in the scriptures. It is Bhagavan himself is teaching us that you are that pure consciousness. Realize your true nature and be one with me. That's what Bhagavan is teaching here. Now, while you are living, be one with Bhagavan. Be one with that ultimate reality. Drop the identification of the body and mind and just remain in divine form. This is called as Jivan Mukti. I am free now, here. Body, yes, it will come, it will go, no doubt. It is so many other factors are related to it. Prarabdha is one. So many other factors, the health of the body, the health, the age of the body, all these are other factors. But I'm not bothered about all of that because I'm learning something new about myself. To get this direct knowledge, which is called as Aparoksha Jnanam, you need to prepare the mind. You need to purify the mind. That is what is called as Chitta Shuddhi. And Chitta Shuddhi means purification. Chitta Ekagrata. Chitta means the mind. I need to make that mind single pointed. Today the mind is wavering, constantly changing. I want that, I want this. All it's going around the whole universe. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to learn so many things. And you have to bring it that as ekagrata, chitta eka, one pointed. Why do we need to bring it to one pointed? Because I want to know the truth. The truth, the essence, the reality, I can know when my mind is able to single pointedly focus and listen. When I listen to the Bhagavad Gita with a focused mind, my own intellect will open up and it will illumine that consciousness. The words of the scriptures are very powerful. And the mind is a very, very powerful instrument we all have. We all have the capacity to illumine this consciousness in us through the study of the Gita and the Upanishads. So concentration, focus of the intellect is what is required to get the mind ready for this knowledge. Kathopanishad says, those who have turned away from the bad conduct, navirato duscharitam, nasanto nasamahita. So when the senses are subdued, and the mind is not concentrated, you can never obtain the knowledge of Atma. This is putting in a negative language. Therefore, what the essence is, develop your mind. Prajna means knowledge. Sthira prajna means firm knowledge of Atma. Firm knowledge, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that pure consciousness. I am that pure awareness. How to get ready for this jnanam, this wisdom? I need to develop virtues, values. The value system in the mind will determine my strength of the mind. And we are going to study 20 different values which I need to build in order to strengthen my mind. Why do I need to strengthen my mind? Because I need to make my mind single pointed to spring and go beyond the mind and see that light of consciousness. Values are called as jnanam. The first verse of the 13th chapter, there were 6 questions asked by Arjuna. What is shaitran? What is shaitraknya? Now that topic is over. Then now we are entering into what is jnanam and what is jneyam. Jnanam means the values which are required to know the shaitraknya. And shaitraknya is the same as jneyam, the thing to be known. From verse number 8 to 12, we will be studying 5 verses, 20 different values which a jnani has developed. Why we need to develop these qualities? Because I want to know myself. The values themselves will lead me, will strengthen my mind. I have explained to you why. My mind today is very scattered. I want to make it single pointed. My mind is very agitated. I want to make it peaceful. When I have a peaceful mind, when I have a pointed, focused mind, I will be able to listen to the Bhagavad Gita, the Neyam portion. So when the Neyam comes, the Lord is going to teach me what is that consciousness. Very brilliant section which will come after this. What is that consciousness? The moment I have all these values in me, what will happen is I will get the necessary ability, adhikaritvam, the capability, like we write an examination to study medicine. That means you have the necessary qualifications. You write a bank examination, you write an engineering examination to enter into a college. So similarly, the values, once we have, we enter into the ability to know that shaitraknya. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa shantirarjavam, acharyopasanam shaucham, sthairyamatvam nigrahaha. So now we will start learning all the values. And everything, all these values are going to be called as knowledge because they lead you to knowledge. Knowledge of Atma. And what are the opposite nature of these values? They are called as ignorance. They are called as ajnanam. So a person who has got these values is called as a jnani. Even if he doesn't know the knowledge of Atma, he will be called a jnani because he is progressing in the field of jnanam. Like a doctor, in the first year itself, he starts putting a stethoscope on his neck. He's still not a doctor, but he's called a doctor. Everywhere he goes, he's called, people will call him a doctor. So similarly, the moment I start progressing in spiritual field, slowly, I learn to develop these values. Then I am in the path of becoming a jnani. Jnani with reference to Atma, the spiritual essence, nothing to do with the world. Amanitvam means not to have manitvam. Glorification, mana, apamana. I don't have glory, I don't glorify myself. Amanitvam means I don't glorify. I'm a very great person, because I have studied the Bhagavad Gita 12 chapters so far. Don't glorify. That is called as manam. I don't tell everybody that I'm very rich. I don't tell everybody I have studied so and so, I'm so and so. So that is called glorification. Amanitva means what? I don't glorify. That is a quality. Normally, as an ego I will put all the degrees in my visiting card. MSc, MBA, CIP, all 20 qualifications. That is all manitvam. Who are you? Oh, I have houses here, I have houses there, I've got land there, I've got land there. These are all external. This is called manitvam. Amanitvam, I am a pure being. That is what is my nature. No self-glorification. Dambitvam, this is the second quality, pretension to gain some respect or a name or a fame. One presents oneself with virtues. What is not there, you try to show off. Suppose somebody doesn't have the qualifications, he has not done, but he just says, no, I know so and so, my father, great grandfather was so and so. So people will start believing I am also great. That is called as dambitva. Dambaha, show off. I try to show off my diamonds and jewelry. I wear expensive clothes, show off, wear so many things you can show off. That is called as dambitvam. Now here it is not showing dambitvam. It is called as adambitvam. Ahimsa, this is the third quality. Himsa means to cause pain. Now pain can be caused by in three ways. Physically you can cause pain. That means you can go and slap somebody, hit somebody. That is physical pain. Verbally, you need not physically do anything, but you criticize a person to all your friends. That is himsa. With himsa, you can never learn atma jnanam. You can never you cannot purify your mind. If you can't purify your mind, you don't have peace of mind. If you don't have peace of mind, you cannot get atma jnanam. Therefore, the Lord Krishna is teaching us ahimsa is a very important quality. It is also to do with the mental thoughts. Even by thinking that you should not criticize someone or cause disturbance to somebody, even in thought form. Why? Because that thought form will grow in me and that will cover my nature of Atma. It wields the Atma. Every time I'll be only thinking of all the wrong things and I will not have time to think about pure consciousness. Praying for there are many people, you may be surprised to know this, there are many people who go to a temple only to make sure that the other person, he goes to God and prays that the other fellow should not get a promotion in the office. Many people are there. That's what I have heard. So that also is a form of himsa, violence at the thought level. So not causing pain, most of us who are already in the Bhagavad Gita, we have already conquered all these values. I'm telling you, most of us who are already in the spiritual path, for us, these are not so relevant. Maybe there are one or two areas we may have to improve, but for most of us, this 20 values are all already present. Shantihi, we are often disturbed. So we have disturbed by agitations of somebody else's actions. Somebody else has done something wrong. So I keep on thinking the whole day, he didn't allow me to go to have to enjoy something. So our mind keeps on thinking. Keeping the mind free from agitations is called as nirvikaratvam, keeping mind equipoised, without tension, without irritations, agitations, is called as shanti. Those whose minds are not perturbed even in the presence of causes of such agitations, excitement, they are the dhiras. So dhira means what? A person who's got a strong intellect, buddhi. In spite of disturbances around, that dhira is a person who's focused. He is not disturbed, he is not irritated. There could be many causes for irritation around a person. When a going gets tough, tough gets the going. That means this is what the person believes. I will be tough. I will make sure that I am still holding on to that knowledge, holding on to the persistence of getting to know that pure consciousness. It's a goal of life. It is called as Purushartha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Moksha is one of the goals of life. So I'm holding on how to be free from this mind. That is what is my challenge. I will get it. One day I will get it. Arjavam means straightforwardness. What I speak, what I do, what I think. Three things, all in one line. Mind does not complicate things. It is not devious. Some people you will find they are very devious. They'll say something to you, but in their own actions, they will be doing something else. So being at ease with oneself is called as arjavam. We understand the situation, and without any internal manipulation, you react. That is what is called as arjavam. Straightforwardness in every aspect. With friends, I'm straight. With my family, with my parents, I'm very straight. With my guru, I'm straight. Any situation comes to me, I look at it objectively, I react. If I'm able to cultivate this process of thinking, this is called as arjava. These are beautiful qualities to develop. If we feel that we don't have some of these, you can make it a habit. Slowly say, okay, over a period of time, I'll make it. See, the only thing is you have to be alert. The moment the mind goes in different directions, if you are alert, that means that is what is called as sakshi, sakshitvam. Swami Chinmayananda used to always say, being alert itself is having all these values in you. How do I know whether I have these values? Is when you know that my mind is going a little bit off, immediately you become aware. That is called as having these values in us. Acharyo upasanam, that's the next quality. Teacher who gives spiritual knowledge is called as acharya. Upasana means love and devotion towards the teacher, which expresses as seva, service to the teacher. This is all with reference to Gurukulam. Gurukulam means where you go and study with the help of a teacher, you join a school, In the school, you are given, the brahmacharis, they are given certain seva, work to do in the ashram. So that quality, that is one of the important qualities for the mind to remain peaceful. When you serve the master, you get attuned to him, and when he teaches you, you are able to pick up that knowledge in an instant. That is why acharya upasana. Upasana means helping, seva. Shaucha. Shaucha means cleanliness, external and internal. Internal is with reference to the thoughts, mind, emotions, feelings. They should be clean. Any feeling of jealousy, drop it. I don't like the person, drop that idea, thought. If it comes, just drop it. Drop it means what? Don't identify with that thought. Think of something else. Shaucham, that is internal cleanliness. External is very easy to understand. Body should be clean. The place where you live should be clean. The dress should be clean. So that is external shaucham. Stairyam, eighth value. All in one verse, he's put all these values. What is stairyam? Stairyam means steadfastness on the spiritual path. There may be many obstacles which may come. Suddenly there will be rain and you'll say, oh, it's raining. I won't go. I won't attend this class today because it's raining. Or if it's too hot, you'll say, no, I'll skip the class today. Or if a friend is calling you and say, let's go for a movie, skip the class. These are all obstacles. In spite of the obstacles, if you keep doing the Bhagavad Gita, the classes, there are many people who joined. But how many people have got the stairyam? Very few. Very, very few. Because it is a quality of the mind. Nothing to be blamed. You see, you can't blame the person, but it is a mind. You see, mind gets suddenly attracted to so many things in life today. Because the attractions outside in the anatma field are too many. Facebook, WhatsApp, all the social media, they're all drawing your attention to the world, away from Atma. We can use them, but we must also know how to drop them. Use them for a certain amount of time and then say, okay, fine. After that, I'm not going to look at them. I have other things to do. Having self-confidence and the courage to hold on to the path is sthairya. Atma vinigraha. Atma vinigraha means it is the control of the senses, control of the mind. Here Atma means the mind. To pursue the spiritual path. We have seen 9 values in verse number 8. Now we are going to verse 9. Indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Very important values. Indriyartheshu vairagyam, 10th value. Indriyartheshu vairagyam means the sense objects are called as the objects of the sense organs. Now they are attracting the sense organs. Vairagyam means what? You stay away from the attraction. The sense objects, they create raga and dvesha, like and dislike. Want, I want this, I don't want this. Raga, spriha, attachment. When I look at, for example, I go shopping, window shopping. What happens is I look at some nice ring and then I feel attracted towards it. I feel like having it. Here we are not talking of small attractions in life. Here we are talking about over attachment. Have vairagyam, have detachment, from sense objects don't have very passionate. That means I can't live without that. Don't say I can't live without that. Then it becomes, then you're attached. In life, we are all having raga dvesha. We have likes and dislikes in life. We learn to live with our raga dvesha, but don't get attached to them and say, I cannot live life without them. If you say that, then you are not able to understand the nature of Atma, because in order to realize Atma, you have to drop the entire waking state. Forget about small objects. The whole waking state has to be dropped to know that pure consciousness. Like you drop the entire dream state in the waking state, you learn to drop the entire waking state when you go off to that Atma state. That is what Lord Krishna is teaching us. You are that pure consciousness in which there is no world. In order to accept that sentence, we need to have this vairagya. Anahamkara. Anahamkara means what? Pride. Hamkara means pride. Ego. I am great. It creates a lot of complexes in my mind. Because it creates complexes. I'm rich, or I'm poor, I'm not knowledgeable, I'm educated, not educated. These are all complexes of the human mind. And by thinking again and again about them, we are giving reality to them. Here we are learning anahamkara. I learn to drop them as thoughts in the mind. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. This is one value. But before that, the ahamkara, you should learn that it is an upadhi. Upadhi means it is a medium. In the waking state, I have this ego, the mind. But it is made up of 5 elements. It exists in because of the combination of 5 elements, as I studied in the Tattva Bodha. But it is not the Kshetraknya. It is not the awareness principle. That is what in this chapter the Lord is teaching us. This aspect of the mind being a part of Kshetram, this is the central core of the teaching. In this whole chapter, what did you understand? In the 13th chapter, if somebody asks you, you should answer in one sentence, I have learned that the mind is not me. I am the seer of the mind. The mind is Kshetra. Mind is an object. Comes and goes. Comes in waking, goes off in sleep. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. This is a very important value for all of us if you want to leave, or if you want to have vairagyam towards this entire anatma centered life. What here Lord Krishna is saying is, in your own mind, you see what has happened to you. You were born on so and so date, you grew up, you had certain situations of family life, you have grown up, became mature, you got married, now you're old. See the dukkham in this entire life. Sorrow has remained constant. Joy has been fleeting, up and down. I remember more of the sorrow than of the joy in my life. And then time comes when there are diseases. This is the whole life. Anudarshanam. The word here to be underlined is anudarshanam. Anudarshanam means repeatedly seeing the defects of human life. And why is he saying this? Because he wants us to drop this identification with the body and mind, and says there is something else, which is Atma, which is always aware of this entire situation. Get attached to that Atma principle in you and be free. That is the teaching of having known this value, seeing this aspect of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Jara means old age, Vyadhi means disease, Mrityu means death, Janma means birth. Asaktirana Bishwangaha Putradhara Grihadisho Nityam cha Samachittatvam Ishtha Nishtopattishu. Three values here. Asakti Putradhara Grihadishu. What does this mean? Asakti Putradhara Grihadishu. Two types of attachments are there, the sense of I and the sense of mine. Putra means son, Dara means wife, Griha means house. Anabhishwangaha. Anabhishwangaha means over attachment. We all have attachment in order to lead life. But here what is criticized is anabhishwangaha, over attachment. Adishu means other attachments like business. You may have a dog, you may have so many other attachments. Over attachment is what is criticized. Attachment is okay. Love is okay. We don't have mental space or time to think or contemplate on Atma if we have over attachment. World belongs to Bhagavan. You hand over your possessions to Bhagavan. Don't be an owner of the objects around you. You can be a possessor. I possess for some time and I dispossess. But the owner is only one, which is the truth. Nothing we own in this life, neither this body, neither the car, neither the house, everything belongs to one Ishvara. Keep reminding that again and again. When the body itself is belonging to Ishvara, what to talk of everything else? You are a trustee for a few years. God has given the body to discharge duty in life. Nothing is ours. Everything belongs to one God. Your duty is only to manage. Nityam cha samachittatvam. Equal poise of mind at all times. Samatvam. Very important quality in the whole Gita. About 50-60 times Lord Krishna has talked about samatvam. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Ishtha anishto upapattishu. Ishta means what you like. Anishta means what you don't like. Equanimity in both. That means mind is balanced in both the circumstances. Whenever likable things, objects comes in before us, keep your mind in balance. Whenever what you don't like comes before us, keep your mind in balance. Give up both the likes and dislikes. Try to remain as Sakshi. That is what is called here as Samachittatvam. With that, we will stop here. If you have any questions, we'll take it up. We'll continue from verse 11. There are two more verses, 11 and 12, which will talk about values. After that, we will talk about Nyayam. Nyayam means what ought to be known, Atma. Very beautiful section in this chapter. So that is going to come. Next week, we'll take it up. So we have finished 15 values. 5 more values are there in the next 2 verses. And go through these values. These are all just education, but the goal should be extremely clear. What am I doing? I'm trying to purify the mind. Why I'm purifying the mind? Because I want to know who am I. Why do I want to know who am I? Because that is the ultimate goal. It's what God says you should know. You should know who you are. And if you know what if you are, what happens? You are free. Free from the cycle of birth and death, free from the cycle of all the dukkham, the sorrows in life. We'll continue next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Next week, Wednesday, I'm starting a Mandukya Upanishad class. Like I said before, this is Upanishadic literature. It's a new class which I'm starting. If you are interested, you can join the class live, or you can ask to send the class by email to you on video, on a link. Mandukya Upanishad is one of the best Upanishads. We have about 10 or 12 Upanishads which we normally study in the spiritual program. Mandukya Upanishad talks about 3 states. What is the waking state? What is the dream state? And what is the sleep state? Threadbare, we will analyze it. And who am I? I am a witness to the 3 states. This is the ultimate teaching in that Upanishads. 12 verses packed with meaning. But it's for people who have gone through this Bhagavad Gita so far. You can pick up because you have already seen what is Shaitram and Shaitaraknya. Shaitram and Shaitaraknya is what is being taught in that Upanishad. You will be able to understand, even though it is Upanishad. Don't worry, I will make it simple so that all of us can understand our own nature and learn to be more happy in life in spite of all the problems around us. So many confusions, so many situations are coming which is not under our control. We move on, but we also learn this spiritual science. There is some, I've already sent a WhatsApp invitation for those who are interested. Okay, if there is any questions, let me see. In the chat, I don't see anything as such. Is there anything else which you would like to ask? If you want to ask any questions, you can ask me now. Shanmugam has unmuted everybody.
Hi, Mr. Shekhar, can you hear me?
Yeah, Umar, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Shekhar, the Wi-Fi is quite bad here, so just to let you know if I suddenly disappear.
Yeah,
okay.
No problem.
Yeah, okay, I think today's this, you started on this 20 good qualifications that we need, and it's really something that has been bothering me for some time.
Yeah.
Okay, recently, you know, with friends and relatives who and even in workplace, they know that I'm taking these courses because sometimes I leave the work early to attend these classes. So sometimes when they see that you know, something I should be a bit worked up about, or something that I should be upset about, and they see that I'm not upset, you know, I'm being told that, you know, you can't pretend to be, you know, like something else and you are not. And so to avoid this, I'm actually sometimes have to make myself look worried or even cry a bit. So then I'm not following the number 2 that you were talking about. Just now when you were telling me, I was feeling so guilty. So,
Yeah.
it's like such a situation.
Yeah. You see,
So that's my question.
yeah, Uma, the thing is that we are living in a society, and we need to pretend as if we are worried about the people around us. We are worried about the job. We are worried about everything. It's a pretension. We all can pretend, but that is a show. As long as you know it is a show which I have to put up, go ahead. First is, if you can let others think what they want about you. If you feel that that is not possible, then you just put a vesham. You're doing a role. You're just wearing a dress and acting. Actually speaking, yeah, our whole waking state is an acting. You should remember that all the time. Whatever I am doing is an action. It is like an actor. You see, in a movie, people take roles. In a real life also, we take roles of a father, mother, sister, executive, worker. So it's a role we are playing. So just carry on, and whatever is required. Suppose you stand too much aloof. Okay, if you want to go for the study, that should not be a problem, because you have a certain liking towards certain things to do. It's like a hobby. So that
Yes.
should not create a problem. I don't think that should. You say it's like somebody playing golf or somebody going and watching a movie. I also like to listen to something. That's all. So, but what you're asking me is, if I am forced to behave, how do I do it?
Yes.
That is, in your own mind, you tell yourself this is a role. It's a role play, like somebody is doing a role play of a beggar in a movie. He's a rich man. The actor is a very rich. He's got houses, and but in the role, in the movie, he's just showing to everybody as if he is a part and parcel of the society. Many a times we may have to do that. If you have to do that, it is, let it happen. Doesn't matter. Let it happen. It's a normal course of action. Don't get too bothered about it. Let it go on, and then you move on with your own goal in life. That is what is called as the strength of the mind. Slowly develop the strength of the mind through japa, through whatever you're doing, all the things which are wonderful things you're doing. That will give you the strength. It will one day make you more and more strong in the mind, so that small things like this do not affect you too much.
Okay, Shekharji. So that means if I have to even put up a show, I don't pay
Oh,
too much attention of it.
yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead. Just say that it's a show. Finish. That's the end of it. Because as long as you are not affected, that is what the teaching is. You should not be affected in your own mind and say, I am the Sakshi. After the show is over, you pat yourself. Uma, you've done a good job. That's what the hero does. Rajnikant or somebody, when he does the good job, he gets a lot of money for the show. He gets an award for it. So what he gets is, he just tells himself, well done, Rajnikant, you've done a good job. It's for the world. But inside, he knows he's not the actor, he's a Sakshi. He knows this. The actor went to a Swamiji and asked him, I play so many roles in life. What is real? Is the role real, or am I real? And if I am real, who am I? Then the Guru taught Rajnikant and said, no, you are the Sakshi, you are the consciousness, you are the awareness principle, you are divine. All the roles you play is mithya, it's an appearance. So, not all of us have the same problem like you are facing. You are not the only one. Good question, Uma. I'm
Yeah.
glad that in spite of so many work situations, you are still able to catch up with the Gita and other classes. Fantastic. Well done.
Yes. I'm so grateful, and I feel very blessed every class that I'm able to attend.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Shekharji.
Yeah. Anybody else has any other question?
Shekharji,
Bhavai, you're back after that course?
yeah, it's completed already.
Very good.
Just waiting for the certificate.
Okay, excellent. You have done a course at your age. You have gone and done a 3-month course. Is fantastic. Okay.
God grace
Yeah.
them.
What's your question?
For the past 2 weeks, I was trying to get that question. As you say, the eightfold of the universe, right?
Yes.
But I see the star is the word star is missing, isn't it?
No, no. Star is a part and parcel of the sun and the moon. You see,
Oh,
you see, when you say sun, moon, they are just representations.
oh.
You see, sun is a star. It represents all stars. So
Mhm.
these are all just a representation. You know, you don't worry about small things, but it's just a
Oh,
representation.
oh, I see. Because as we were young, we were told that your loved ones are right up there,
Yeah.
sprinkling like the stars
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that.
That's
So,
all. That's all at a junior level. You see, today now
mhm.
you are at Bhagavad Gita. You are now learned so much things. The last so many 5 6 years, you have learned the Gita, Upanishads. You have learned so many texts. So now, what you should say is, I am the light myself.
That's
In
right.
my light, everything I can see the light of the stars because I am that pure awareness. I can see the light in the sun because I am that pure light. Without
Oh,
me, the pure light, that sun doesn't exist. In
okay.
the night, when I go to sleep, that sun is not available for me.
Mm.
That star which I saw in the waking state is not available for me.
So it is just an illusion,
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
Oh, okay. Because during our younger days, we were so much interested with
Yes,
the stuff that.
yes, yes.
But when you grow old, right, you forget about
That's
the stuff.
correct. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, Bhavai. Anybody else
Okay.
has any
Thank
question?
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. See you next week.
Okay.
Bye. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you, Bhavai.
Bye.
Anybody else has any other questions?
I think today, not much people. I think 14 devotees today.
Okay. All right. So we'll close for the day and then we'll continue next week.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Shekaji. Good night.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you.